Hi guys, it's Ms. Miner, and today's lesson is 1E, and guess what? This is our last lesson of this unit. Our next lesson will be a test review, and so today is kind of the day that we put everything together. We're going to solve complex equations using simplifying and distributing. So we're putting everything that we've learned in this unit all together, and we're going to do some equation solving. The great thing is, if you've been working on your homework assignments up to this point, then today's lesson should be pretty easy. We are using the same steps, we are using the same ideas, the same procedures in order to be able to solve these complex problems. And so let's just dive in and let's do some equation solving. Here are our rules right over here that we've been using in order to solve equations. And we're going to keep using those same rules. We're not adding any rules. We're not adding any new things. We're just going to go ahead and solve some equations. So today is mostly just practice of everything that we've learned up till this point. Okay, remember the first thing that I want to always do is simplify. This is my simplify step. And so I'm looking for share the love, which is distributing. And then I'm going to have a family reunion where I combine all my like terms. Like terms. I'm just going to do, well, that's very crazy. Let's erase that. And let's put combine like terms on there. Okay. So that's my first thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to distribute and then I'm going to combine like terms to simplify this problem just a little bit. And actually, I think I'm going to slide this over and up just to give me the most amount of room here. And okay, let's do it. The very first thing I want to do is distribute. And remember, I'm looking for the parentheses at this step. This is my order of operations. I always look for parentheses first. And when I'm distributing and I see my parentheses, I want to find the term that is right in front. So I'm just going to go ahead and break this one up into different terms. Inside the parentheses, I have two terms. And then here's my equal sign. I cannot cross. On the other side of the equal sign, I have two more terms. And so we're just going to look and see if we can combine anything together or distribute. Okay, distributing. Here's the parentheses. And I remember whatever term is out in front, it's multiplying the stuff inside the parentheses. So we're going to distribute. In this case, we're going to distribute a 9, and we're going to distribute a 9. And I always write it above so that I'm looking right at it. And so I get 9 times n, which is just 9n, and then 9 times 3, which is plus 27. And then I'm going to look, let's rewrite. Sorry. I'm going to distribute over on this side, then I'm going to rewrite 7 and minus 3, just so that I have it all together. Okay, so I distributed. Now I want to combine like terms. But remember, I can't combine across the equal sign. I'm just looking on the right-hand side to see if I can combine, and then I'm looking over here on the left-hand side to see if I can combine. And in this case, this term here is 9n, and this term is a 27. Those do not have the same last name, and so I can't combine them. Over here on this side, I have a 7n and a negative 3. Those do not have the same last name, so I can't combine them. I have no terms that I can combine, so I'm done simplifying. Now I can move on and do step 2. And remember, this was remove any x's that I don't want. In this case, we have n's, but it works the same way, right? So I'm going to remove the n that I don't want. And I always like to keep the n, I always like to keep the n, if I can, on the left-hand side, because then my answer kind of looks the way I want to. So I'm going to get rid of this n that's on the right-hand side. And remember, this is always an addition or a subtraction step. And so because I have a positive 7 n's on this side, I'm going to subtract 7 n's to get rid of it. That means I have to subtract 7 n's on the left-hand side to rebalance the scale, to make it equal again. Then I'm going to rewrite. I always do a rewrite because that helps me keep organized. And when I do my rewrite, I just total everything up. So 7n is going to go to 0, and all I'm going to have left over here is the negative 3. And on this side, I'm going to have 9n's minus 7n's. That gives me 2n's, and then I still have my plus 27 over here. So there's my rewrite. And I'm always working from the bottom of my work. Then I don't have to kind of look back up here to see if there's anything that I missed. All right, next step. Step 3. Remember, this is an addition and subtraction step. I'm going to remove the number that's not connected to my variable, my hostage, if you will. And so over here, here's the number that is connected to my variable. Here's the number that is not connected to my variable. So because it's adding already, I'm going to subtract 27 to get rid of it. That means I have to subtract 27 from the right-hand side in order to rebalance or re-equalize my equation. This is going to go to 0, and I'm going to have 2n left over on this side. And on this side I have negative 3, and I'm minus 27 more. That gives me negative 30. And now I have completed step 3. If we're checking boxes, right, then we've completed all the way up to step 4. And step 4 is always my multiply or divide step. And so I'm going to look over here at my variable, and the 2 is multiplying the n right now, so I'm going to divide by 2 to get rid of it. Divide by 2 over here to rebalance the equation. This is going to go to 1, and I'm going to have 1n left over. And on this side, I'm going to have negative 30 divided by 2, which gives me negative 15. And there's the answer that I'm looking for. So you can see I have not changed my procedures at all. I'm doing the same procedures that I always do. And use your calculator to do these calculations when you need them, okay? Don't rely so much on mental math if you need a calculator to help you get those calculated correctly. All right. For some reason, this problem is not showing up. On my iPad, it just doesn't like it for some reason. So I'm going to rewrite the problem that's here on my iPad. So the problem is this, and it looks kind of crazy. The problem is, let me see if I can just get this to delete for a minute. Well, okay. A minus 8. My iPad is not loving me right now. Minus 8 divided by 12 is equal to 2a plus 5 divided by 3. And then I am just going to see if I can delete this one right here for right now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here's our problem, right? And in this problem, we have to remember how to deal with fractions. We learned about that on homework 1C. And if you need a review of that, I want you to go back and watch the video on 1C. But remember, I can manipulate an equation any way I want to. I can multiply it by a negative. I can subtract 3. And that's the cool thing about equations, is that I can do whatever I want to these equations as long as whatever I do on the left-hand side, I also do it on the right-hand side. So if I'm dividing this problem, or if I have a bunch of fractions in this problem that I don't like, then I can get rid of them by taking this whole equation and multiplying it by the common denominator, which is in this case is 12. I usually just use the biggest denominator in order to get rid of it. So this is 12. I'm going to multiply everything in this equation by 12 in order to get rid of these denominators that are down here, right? And over here on my left-hand side, here's my equals sign. I'm multiplying by 12 over here. I'm also multiplying by 12 over here. Let's just go ahead and put parentheses around both sides of the equal sign so I'm not confusing you guys. And when I multiply by 12 on the left-hand side, these two 12s cancel, and all that I've got left over there is a minus 8. When I multiply by 12 on the right-hand side, the 3 and the 12 divide and give me 4 times the numerator, right? So down here I'll end up with 4 times 2a plus 5. And then this is the equation that I'm working with in order to go down through my steps, my procedures. All right, so the first thing that I always want to do is look for those parentheses where I'm distributing something. And where am I distributing something? I'm distributing something right here. I'm always distributing the term out in front of the parentheses. And so I'm going to distribute a 4 into here. I'm going to distribute a 4 into here. And then I'm going to do that multiplying and rewrite this whole equation. So I end up with a minus 8 on this side because I haven't done anything over there. And then on this side I have 4 times 2a, which is 8a. And I have 4 times 5, which is plus 20. Okay, I distributed. We can check that off. Now I'm going to have a family reunion and combine like terms. Looking at this side of my equation, I have one term that has an a in it. There's no combining over there. Same thing over here. I have a term that has an 8a in it, and then I have a 20, and those two things can't be combined. So I'm done with the simplifying part of this. I'm going to move on and do step 2, which is remove any x's. In this case, I have a's. But remember, this is an addition or a subtraction step. And so I'm just going to pick the a that I want to keep. And this time, let's keep the a that's on this side. Just to prove to ourselves that it doesn't matter which side I keep. Okay, let's get rid of the a from the left-hand side. Looking at the a on the left-hand side, I can see that I have an a and I have a negative 8. There's my two terms. And so this is a positive a. I'm going to subtract a to get rid of it. That means I have to subtract an a from this side as well to rebalance my equation. And then I'm going to rewrite this equation. I'm going to total everything up, and I'm going to rewrite what I have left over. If I have 8 a's and I take one of those a's away, I end up with 7 a's left over, and I just drop down my plus 20. It's still there. Okay, I removed one of my a's. Now I'm going to do step 3. I'm going to remove the number that's not connected to my variable. And I'm talking about the number that's not connected to my variable that's also on the same side as my variable, right? And this is always an addition and subtraction step as well. And so I'm looking at this. 20 is the number that's not connected to my a. And right now it's a positive 20, so I'm going to subtract 20 from this side in order to get rid of it. That means I have to subtract 20 from the left-hand side in order to rebalance my equation. And then I'm going to rewrite. So I'm going to total everything up. Those are going to go to 0, and I'm just going to have 7 a's left over on this side. And then negative 8 minus 20. That means here's my party, right? How many total negatives do I have? I have negative 28. Step 3 is done. I can move on and do the next step, which is step 4. Step 4 says move the number that is connected to my variable. This is my multiply and divide step. Right now these two are multiplying each other, so I'm going to divide to get rid of the 7, divide the other side to get rid of this, to rebalance the equation, and this is going to go to 1. I'm going to have 1a left over, and negative 28 divided by 7 gives me negative 4. So lots of steps happening here, but I never did any math that was like challenging or hard. I just used addition and subtraction. I used multiplication and division. And those are all things that you can do with your calculator, right? I just have to kind of get this pattern in my mind of the steps that I need to use and when I need to use them. And then I've got this. I can literally solve any equation. Okay. That's all the practice problems that I have right now. If you would like to, let's see if I can, I thought I had one more practice problem here, but I guess I don't. Okay, so I hope that that video helps you guys. We're just doing the same steps and procedures that we've done in the past. And please email me or Mrs. Zeider if you have any questions. And we will make sure that we keep working with these and do some more when we do our test review next time. So good luck. Thanks, guys.